Did you do it? Ugh. Says recording progress. This meeting is being recorded with Zoom. Okay. Are you on mute? In the world.
Yay!
There we go.
Okay, there we go. Okay. Well,
Yay.
hello and welcome to Sips by the Well. My name is Janelle and I am your host. And today I have a guest that's been on my show a couple of times, my cousin, Jessica. Say hello.
Hi, I'm cousin Corinne.
Yeah, I was gonna say she's Corinne, but if you don't know her like I know her, then she's Jessica.
Because I don't want to be called Corn or Karen, so that's why.
Born?
Like
People have actually called you that?
one person.
Ugh, she's like, what I
Or
remember.
and I remember that.
Yeah.
Or my brother calls me Corinne.
That's the best one.
Yeah, that was great. So
So
today we're talking about,
we're going to talk about dreams and visions, which is kind of a weird topic if you're not really into the Holy Spirit, I guess you could say, or think that it's just coincidental. I don't feel like there are any coincidences with God. I wouldn't say every dream or every vision is from God, but I know for myself, when I can remember dreams when I wake up and I can remember a lot of details and I'm like, what does that even mean? I will take it to the Lord and be like, okay, this is something different,
yeah,
And so
yeah.
that's kind of what helps me decipher.
And my daughter, she tells me her dreams all the time. And I can say probably like 99% of the time when she tells me, I can tell her there's Jesus in it. And I love that.
Yeah.
So, but if someone else tells me their dreams, I don't always see Jesus in that. Or even my own dreams, I'm just like, what in the world? There's no way I can even describe this messy, weird dream. But I wanted to read a Bible verse because I was like,
I'm gonna laugh if it's the same one I have pulled up. So go ahead.
I may have lost it. Hold on, here it is. Um, it's in Ecclesiastes. Is that the one that you
No,
were?
no.
No.
Okay.
Okay, so in Ecclesiastes, there's a couple, and this is Ecclesiastes 5:7, and it says, "Much dreaming and many words are meaningless. Therefore, fear God." So I guess this is telling me right now that sometimes they don't always mean something. And before that, which is, I believe, 5, Ecclesiastes 5:5. No, 5:3. Sorry. A dream comes when there are many cares, and many words mark the speech of a fool. So basically, when we have a lot of cares, we're gonna dream more. Then I wonder if that has like any kind of like correlation with anxiety, right? He says to cast our cares upon him. So I wonder.
Yeah.
Do you dream a lot?
Different seasons. You know what I mean? So like sometimes I dream a lot. For many years, I didn't dream at all. But being completely transparent, I was smoking a lot of pot, and I feel like it made my brain numb. And
That's what they say.
really,
They say when you smoke pot, you don't really dream that much.
well, I didn't. But I also think it was that I was just in such a sleep. You know what I'm saying? That it was like, how
Yeah.
could my brain be working? I was smoking it into just nothing. And ever since I stopped smoking, my dreams came back like in a flood. And
Wow.
and sometimes I dream more, and I don't remember them. Like I'll remember, and I'll wake up and I'm like, God, I had crazy dreams. But then like 10 or 15 minutes goes by and I can't remember it. So if it's something that I'm like, okay, whoa, like I said, if I can remember a lot of weird details, like for instance, just a little bit back, I had this weird one where I was walking and it was like through a weird, like ghetto type area. And I kept hearing the word jihad. And I didn't even know what that was. Right. And then I met this man, and then there was this baby, and it was just like super weird, random stuff. Right. So after I woke up, I'm like praying and I'm like, God, what the heck was all that? And so I Googled that word. I had never heard that word before.
Oh, okay.
And I'm like, and I kept hearing it in the dream. And that was like the thing that stuck out when I woke up. And so I feel like to myself, to me, a lot of the times I feel like dreams can be just an overabundance of our thoughts, whatever we were thinking about before bed.
Right.
Like our
Like
sub,
like that Bible verse, right?
right. It's meaningless. But then I do think some of them,
No, the cares. Not that it's meaningless. It's about the cares. A dream comes when there are many cares, you know?
like when you have a lot on your mind.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense. When I'm like thinking of too many things. But then sometimes I feel like, and I pulled this scripture up, and it's in Genesis 37:5. It says, Joseph had a dream. And when he told his brothers, they hated them all the more. He said to them, listen to this dream I had. We were binding sheaves of grain out in the field, and when suddenly my sheaf rose above and stood upright, while your sheaves gathered around mine and bowed down to him. This lets me know that God will come to us in dreams and reveal something to us about the future. And that's what I feel like a lot of dreams that I have that are super vivid and super like, what was that about? That I will write down. And I feel like it's the Lord warning me about something that's coming up ahead, to be prepared, and not always bad things. Like I have one that I have that I want to share in just a little bit that was amazing. And it was like all of the details. It was about ministry and like what I was about to walk into. And it was super cool. And all the details, I kept saying, what does that mean, Lord? And it was like God, once I was awake, walked me through the meaning of all of the things.
Wow. I
So,
can't wait to hear it.
so well, I'm going to say a prayer because
Cool.
I forgot to do that beforehand.
I have a technical question or technical.
Okay.
So I can see you full screen.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to make sure you're like, have you done this on Zoom before with two people?
No,
No.
I don't think
I'm
so.
one I'm wondering how it's gonna look. If
Um,
it's just like me talking and then you talking, or is
that's a
it like
good question.
a
Like I can
split
see you full
screen?
screen, and I can only see me little in the corner.
So I've seen videos where it's just like, okay, anyways, we'll just hope
I
for the
feel like
best.
it should be us side by side.
Oh, I
I'm
don't know.
hoping, but
I
you
have
would
no
think it would
idea.
show us that. I don't know. So everybody, please show me grace because my laptop is down. I don't know what the heck's going on with it. I think the enemy's mad because I keep doing this podcast against his will, but I know that it's God's will.
Amen.
And so I know that it's God's will, and that's why I keep doing it. And so I'm totally improvising. I'm on my iPad. I'm not an Apple user. I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm just kind of winging it. So if this is weird and it's me talking and then it's her talking and then it's me talking, I'm sorry. I hope that it puts us side by side, but we'll have to see when we upload it to YouTube.
We'll see.
We'll see. And hopefully I'm going to get my laptop fixed soon because it's like saying that I need some code and I don't know where I would get the code.
Maybe I can help after the show.
After the show. Okay, so let me say a prayer. Dear Heavenly Father, I come to you today thankful, Lord. Thankful for this platform. Thankful for technical difficulties that reveal to me that the enemy's mad. I thank you that you allow me to make him mad. I thank you, God, for the calling that you've put on my life. I thank you for the calling that you've put on my cousin's life, Lord. I thank you that she's agreed to come on here today. I thank you for the words that you've given us to speak, God, for the dreams and the visions and just the things that you speak intimately to our hearts. I ask for good soil as we speak today, Lord, and for this to touch whoever it is meant to. I thank you and we praise you. It's in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
So why don't you share something that you've had about dreams or something? You said you had written some things down.
Yeah, I have a few things written down. And I guess I'm just gonna go. So I have this journal my Ari got me when
I
I
bought
don't
that.
know.
I bought that same journal for one of my friends recently.
Really? Yeah, she got it Barnes and Noble. So cute. And I haven't really written in it a lot, but I have it dedicated for dreams. That's what it says in here. So I just haven't been writing them down, so I need to. But the ones that like vision type things and dreams, and I know where the Lord's like helped me out, speaking to me, I've written them down. Encounters, right? Jesus
Yeah.
encounters. I'm writing them in here because why do we forget? I mean, they're so powerful, and then I forget them. Like, so I had to make a point to write them down.
Well, and honestly, I want to say I love that you're writing them down because if this laptop thing has taught me anything,
Yeah.
I write all of my lessons, all of my poetry, all of like the book that I'm writing, like everything is on my phone.
The book that you're writing?
Yes. Well,
That's right, girl.
it's just a Bible study book, but just
Just
well, I'm just saying everything I've ever written is in my Google Docs. And if my Google Docs was to magically disappear, I would be devastated. So I've told myself that I need to print everything that's on my phone and just keep it in a folder, even if like, whatever, even if there's typos or whatever, at least I'll have a copy. Like you said, you wrote it down. Like I need
right.
to. As the Bible says in Habakkuk, write the vision down and make it plain. It doesn't say type it on a computer. It says write it down.
Well, someone wrote the Bible, right?
Yeah.
Over and over and over and over again so that we could have it today.
Yeah.
So I think these encounters are really important. And I have a journal here that I write letters to my daughter. And I want her to like read them later on and like go, oh, my mom. And so I let her read some of them and she wrote me a little note in there and it says, please don't stop doing these.
Oh,
And it's
I actually,
basically,
yeah, I actually have one for each one of my kids, and I just write when I see the hand of God in their lives or something, and I just write
that's
little
great.
things. And I don't really think either one of them know, but like when I die, I know that sounds super morbid, but like I want them to find them
And
and
then
and
I laugh.
see and see that all throughout their lives, I was like writing about them.
Yeah. So when Baba died, your Aunt Nodi, she gave me her journal. And I thought that was like so thoughtful of her to, and in the back of the little journal it said for Corinne.
Oh,
And it wasn't like for a very long period of time. It was a short period of time, but it was like really comforting after she passed away, after I could bring myself to actually read it. It was pretty comforting to be able to read it and like connect
that's
with.
so special.
Yeah. So, alrighty. So I wrote this down in my journal, and it's about an experience that I had in this life, this adventure we call life. Okay. And it's titled, It Was Then That I Carried You. So I had a friend that turned into a little bit more than a friend. And I'm not going to go into super details because I don't want to give, I guess, the satisfaction of the torment that I went through.
Yeah.
But um, he was on drugs and it turned into him stalking me. And I remember like going to work, and every time I would go to work, I thought if I park in the same place, then he's gonna know where I'm at. So I would park in different areas and then I would run into work. And then one day I just got, um, courage, I guess you would say. I got the courage to, or at least I just had it in me like, I'm done with this. F this. I'm gonna park in my normal parking spot right in front of the entrance. So I don't have to run around like an idiot. Like I'm just gonna park. And wouldn't you know it, on my way out to go home, he's there. And so I play it cool, pretend like nothing's wrong. And I'm like, oh, hey, you know, hey, what are you doing here? He's like, you're going with me. And I was like, oh, wait, hold on. Let me call my mom first, because I got to tell her something. And he's like, nope. We start like physically going at it. And I'm still playing cool, still playing nicey nice friend, haha, because that's just my way of not like, making a scene, I guess. And because I'm at work. And somehow we go around my car because I guess what he was gonna do was like kidnap me in my own car. He steals my keys. The doors are locked. I think my purse is locked in my car. And I run and I call the cops. The cops come and mind you, he had been after me for a very long time and I couldn't get any help. But this time, because it was in a business park at my job, it was like, nope, this dude is attempted kidnapping. Um, what do you call it when someone steals something from you?
Yeah.
Theft.
Come
Because
on.
of, yeah. So attempted kidnapping, theft because they stole my keys, and probably a little battery because he was, trying to hurt
Man,
me,
yeah.
manhandle me. And so, okay, anyways,
How insane.
he goes to prison for all this craziness. So I have to call the locksmith. I feel finally I'm free. This dude, he's in jail now. You know, um, I call the locksmith. He comes and he unlocks my car for me. And at the very foot of my, where you, on the carpet on the floor, is a maybe I should have read this, but is a keychain. And the keychain says it was then that I carried you. And it's the footprint.
Footprints. Yeah.
And there's no possible way for that to have come off my keys because he took my keys. So in the tussle, that came off of my keychain and was there on the floor when he had my keys and everything else. And it was a note where I saw that and I was like, Lord. And after that moment, I never had to deal with him again. He never came after me again because he was locked up. We never had to encounter each other again, and it was over. And I had that note from the Lord that says it was then that I carried you. So that was one little story. And I know that's not a dream or a vision, but it is an encounter with the Lord and it's where he showed up for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, it's nice. It's not nice to know, but I don't know. You know how like, when you go to a support group and you hear somebody else has gone through similar things that you have, and it's like, oh wow, I'm not the only one that's been tortured in that way. It's
Yes.
not that I'm
And
happy.
it's not anything you really want to talk about, but you know what? And I don't want to share that story, but I'm human and I've had an adventure
An
and what's
adventure.
that Bible verse? What's that Bible verse that you always say?
Revelations 12:11.
Yes.
We overcome by the power of the blood and the words of our testimonies.
Yes.
Well, and I know
And
that there's so many women probably in similar situations currently like that. And they probably needed to hear that, like that God is carrying them, that God is with them, whether it feels like it or not.
yeah, and if you don't know the footprints um poem, look it up. I don't think I have it written down.
It's beautiful.
Yeah. It's basically there's, someone walking along the sand and they they're struggling in life and they only see one set of footprints, but in the good times, they see two sets of footprints and it's a vision, right? From the Lord. And he's like, well, why, Lord? I'm gonna cry. I'm not gonna cry. Okay, why, Lord, when I was going through the most trauma and the most heartache and pain, why did I only see one set of footprints? And the answer the Lord gives is, it was then that I carried you. So this story usually does make me cry. Um,
Well,
I'm
and I mean
choking a little bit.
that I mean that could have been really not. I mean, I have a friend of mine, my best friend in Texas. Um, and I'm just going to go ahead and air all her business. She had an ex that kidnapped her and I don't know, with a knife or something, and drove her around, made her drive around all day long and go to ATMs
Oh
and
man.
cut her while why he
Oh.
did it. I mean, and he didn't even get in trouble for it. Like,
It's all about, I guess, the cops and the judges and everyone
well,
involved.
like our judicial system really fails battered women. I feel like, I mean, with my ex, I went through, as you know, a lot with him, and I called the cops, and they did nothing. I mean, he posted a picture of me in lingerie on Facebook. Like, he stalked me at my job. Just so many things. And it was like he came to my house and was like screaming in front of the house where I was living. And they're like, "Oh, well, I mean, that's public street." And like he threatened my coworkers, and they were like, "I'm like, my coworkers can tell you, like, we have the number on caller ID." Like, and there was, I mean, I had recordings of him threatening me, like telling me he's going to kill me, like, and they did nothing. But to follow up with that, the reason I ended up leaving him, you know, I don't usually like to talk about this in depth because people usually can put two and two together and guess what I'm talking about. But since we're not streaming this live on Facebook, it's my YouTube page. um, and so I'm going to just talk about it because I feel like from you telling that story, there must be somebody that needs to hear something like this that's comforting. Um, we were fighting one night or something, and God gave me a vision, and it was a vision of me, and I was crawling to the phone, and I had blood dripping from me, and like I was almost dying, like I was, like my head was cracked open, like in this vision, and God told me, "I'm not gonna let him kill you, but I'm gonna let him beat you within seconds of your life if you don't leave." And I was just like,
Wow.
literally, I snapped too, and I was like, "Okay, I'm gonna start packing my stuff." Like, it was like, "Okay, God." I mean, it was other things like my daughter being scared and telling me she was gonna leave and come back to California. She's like, "If you don't leave him, I'm moving back to California. I don't want to live where I'm scared anymore." Which is awful to have to admit that it came to that my daughter
Right.
saw so much. But at the same time, it was like all of those things were what gave me the courage to finally leave, which is just
Yeah.
what I think about some of the things I've lived through, and I'm like, I kind of chuckle at it now because it doesn't seem real.
Right, right. It's like head in the clouds kind of a thing. It's like, I wish I could go back and, you know, be more brave. And that I think that's why the judicial system does fail battered women is because women, as quick as they call the cops, they get right back with the
Oh
guy.
yeah, oh yeah.
And that is like not everyone understands why or how. How could you if someone hurt you? It's like
It's the
because you're
mental.
stupid, because
Well, no, it's the
you're
mental manipulation. I know for me because I never could understand it, and I actually was very haughty about it, and the Lord humbled me through it. I used to say, "Oh, she must like that. She keeps going back." Like, how mean was I to say something like that? But I didn't have an understanding of it
right.
because I've always kind of been a tough girl. And I thought, I wish somebody would put their hands on me. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was my attitude,
Yeah.
because guys would put their hands on me. Like, I'll get up in your face. That's how I used to be until I met my match. And
Yeah.
as hard as it was, and as, as detrimental as it was, I'm so thankful because it's what taught me self-control.
Yeah.
Like, weirdly.
It's a terrible thing to admit, isn't it?
Yeah, like it took me getting my eye dotted for me to finally be like, shut your mouth. Like, you run your mouth way too much. Like, one of these days is gonna end in something worse than just an eye dotted. Like, shut your mouth. And it's helped me in jobs. I used to couldn't keep my mouth shut at a job. If a boss popped off to me, I would pop off back. And that's why I could not keep a job. Like, there were so many things affecting me because of my lack of self-control. And that situation, I've had bosses, not that I wanted to stay working for them, but I did, that were just, and I just, yes, ma'am, because I was able to have the self-control. And that job worked into a better job. And like I can see God's hand on all of it. You know what I mean? Like as it progressed in my life, now looking back, I can see how every single thing was necessary.
Yeah. Unfortunately, right?
It's like, why were you so hard-headed?
Well, it did teach me to honor my husband in a you know, and it's crushed pride a little bit where it's like, you know what? I'm so grateful for him. Like he does so many good things. Like I don't even want to think ill of him because, your mind is your actions follow your mind. So if I'm just like, oh, I can't stand him, I hope he hurts himself today, or the things that I used to think about my ex-husband. I hope he falls off of the um, curb and trips and falls and hurts. It's just like those things that play in your mind. It's like, no way, not my husband. He's an angel. He's a saint. I love him so much, and I just pray for him. And so it's definitely changed me as a wife. So
Well, and honestly, I learned even in that relationship that wasn't the best, I learned that I was very disrespectful. And the Bible says that we are to respect men. And I was not. I remember one time we were in an argument, and later on I was reading my Bible, and God took me to the scripture in Proverbs that says, a wise woman builds her house and a foolish one tears it down with her own hands.
yeah,
And he was telling me, like, you do all of this because I'm a natural encourager. Like, I love to encourage people. It's just who I am. And so, like, especially the man I'm with, like, I very much speak life over them and da da da. But then God was showing me, you do all of that. And then in one argument, you ruin months of building somebody up because your words cut.
yeah.
And it was like,
For
dang God.
for as good as you are as building up, you're just as good as breaking it down.
No, really.
It's a talent, right? And a curse too at the same time. Yeah.
It is. But like you said, it's taught me that when God decides to bless me with a husband, I will not. I will not disrespect him. I will not speak ill to him. And that's the reason that I'm so picky, because I feel like I want to be so submitted to my husband that even if he's wrong, I want to let God deal with him.
Yeah, that's good.
I want to be like, Lord, I know he's wrong, but I'm going to need you to convict him, because I don't want to talk back. I don't want to be that nagging wife. There's so many scriptures in the Bible about a nagging wife. It's better to live in a house with a leaking roof, or
The
it's like,
drippy faucet.
yes, and I don't want to be that.
So we moved on to relationships somehow. I don't know.
Okay, so let me share this dream with you that was about ministry because it was such a beautiful dream.
Okay.
Um, I remember, I'll have to type in his dream. Let's see. Dream 12:54. I even write like the time, 2:55 a.m. Let's see this one.
That's an idea. I think I'll be doing well. You're doing it on your phone, so
No, this is weird. That wasn't it. Okay, there's more. It's down here. Okay, ministry dream. 12/21/2023. I had a dream about a house. The house was huge with many rooms. I don't know what to do with them at all. Lexi and I were looking around the house with many ideas of what each room could be. The house was really yucky and unfinished. The carpet was gross and the construction was bad. Holes in the floor and the walls, unfinished structures, but the house as a whole was very sturdy. It had a sturdy foundation. It needed lots of work, but it had space for literally everything. A podcast room, a gym, as many bedrooms as you could want, multiple living spaces, bathrooms, weird closets. I kept saying it was like the Winchester Mystery House. Lots of people were there coming in and checking it out. Some random people, but also people I knew. People in my life currently that I do ministry with. Some people were super negative and couldn't see how incredible the house could be. But others were visionaries and could see as I explained. And they were like, wow, Janelle, this is so dope. I began to get overwhelmed as I saw all the work that needed to be done and discouraged, thinking I could never do this on my own. Towards the end of my dream, people began to walk in with tools, materials, and smiles, saying, "We're about to do this." I woke up and I laid there thinking about the dream. As I lay there, I began to ask God, what did all of that mean? He showed me, this is the ministry that I have given you. The possibilities are endless, and if I am willing to put in the work, the outcome could be like nothing anyone has ever seen. He will send me the workers, the materials, and all I need to get it done. But I must be patient as these things take time. I must be willing to do the work with others, accept help, and collaborate on lots of it. Most importantly, I must be willing to trust him in the whole process. Just as this house was yucky in lots of places, run down, unfinished, that's how ministry is. That's how his people that he wants me to help save are. They're rough around the edges. They're dirty from the misuse and lack of upkeep. But the foundation is sturdy. The vision is there. All I need has and will be provided for me. Be willing to do the work, Janelle, and stay the course, and the end result will be like a shiny mansion, nothing anyone
Oh,
has ever seen, and will come from near and far to behold its beauty.
that's right.
And so I just like I said, and I remember all of these details, and that's why I be sure to write things down because I wouldn't have remembered that now.
Right.
And that was like 3 years ago. But God showed me like just like the carpet, it was yucky, but underneath was beautiful hardwood. You know what I'm saying? And like showing me like all of these people that I've sent you to help on the outside, they're gonna appear yucky. They're gonna be people aren't gonna want to deal with them because they're people that are often overlooked. Like that's the calling I feel like God has put on my life. Like some of the kids that are in my youth program, I remember one of them, and he's like the most changed one. So many leaders were just like, "Oh, that kid, da 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 da," and it was like I saw something in him. Like, no, he's special. Like I see it in him, and sure enough, now, I mean, he like has a job and does really good in school, and he's like the one at the youth group that's like telling the other kids, "You need to not do that, man."
Oh,
And he goes to like events and volunteers with me, and it's like if I had just saw his carpet and
yeah.
and just gave up on him,
Yeah.
and I
And
think
just
about
stop.
people like I was yucky. I still am yucky. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know. It was just so powerful to me for God to just show me that and to show me that he trusts me with this calling. Like it's so humbling to me that he lets me do these things.
Of course he does.
I don't feel like you should. I mean,
No, it's like the enemy telling you you shouldn't. It reminds me of like the story of David, right? Look what David did. But he was
I
after God's heart.
yeah.
And I mean, he just like messed up and messed up and messed up, but like he killed the giant.
Well, and he kept going back to God, and I think that that's the lesson that we all need to know is like it doesn't matter how many times you don't get it right, as long as you get going back to God right. That's all that really matters.
Well, my favorite thing about the story of David and Saul is that Saul was okay pleasing his people, but David wanted to please God. And and that's what the difference between them were. And that's we got to figure out is that our heart is that we want to just please people. We only care about what people think. And you look at someone like someone that's misbehaving, like maybe one of your students or something, and people look at him and they think, gosh, what are people going to think? It's like, we don't care what people think. We care what God thinks. Keep ministering to this kid because he's going to see Jesus in you and, it's going to transform him. So anyways, that's something that I'm constantly having to, in my own mind, is like, who am I doing this for? Am I doing it for other people or am I doing it for the Lord? You know?
Yeah, there's a scripture that says, if I were to keep on pleasing men, would I be a servant of Christ? Like, if all I care about, like you're saying, is what other people think, am I really doing it with the right heart motives? Like I, for the most part, I don't care what other people think. I try to care a little more because I'm like, okay, you're kind of offensive. And so I try not to be so offensive, and God's really working on the gentleness thing in me because I became very brash and calloused, I guess you could say, because of all of my life experiences. But I mean, like, for instance, the other night we were at youth group and one of the kids was like, she was saying that, oh, I only hit the vape a couple times. I go, that's like saying I only smoked a little bit of crack. And one of the other teachers looked at me like, did you really just say that? I'm all, well, yeah, I'm trying to get my point across. Like, a little bit is too much. Let's just not do it at all. Let's celebrate
Right.
doing it at all, like,
Yeah.
and that, because that's what the enemy wants us to think. The enemy wants us to think, oh, you can do this just a little bit. You can have just a little sex and you'll be fine.
Yeah.
You can,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? You
Yeah.
can just do a little bit of drugs. You can just steal a little bit from your company, like whatever it is. No, it's still sin. Sin is sin.
Yeah. Yeah. And you could have very easily whispered that because you don't want anyone else to hear it. But then that power of what you're saying would not come across as clear as it did. I mean,
I
you
would
said,
like to believe I could have whispered it, but sometimes things just come out of my mouth before I even think about, like, who are you saying this in front of? Like, I don't mean to. I really don't. Like, my filter needs to get better. But a lot of the times, people tell me that that's why they trust my opinion.
yeah,
They're like, you're just very blunt. And you just, like, I know you wouldn't be telling me this if it wasn't the truth
right, right.
because you don't
It's
really
a
dance around
blessing.
things.
It's a blessing to hear the truth.
It is. It is,
So,
but not everybody's always ready.
well, they need to be ready
Yeah.
for the truth, right? They just do. Okay, next one. Happened. This would be more like sort of a dream, kind of a vision, because it was halfway in between awake and asleep.
Okay.
And I thought it was really, and I'm so glad I wrote this down because I would have forgot it. But I was entering a very rough time in my life. I had just gotten a divorce and I was moving in with with my auntie and the family, all of us, we were on the beach and some of us, my daughter, my mom, and I think one of my cousins, they were all looking for seashells. And my aunt and I, we fell asleep on the beach. And I remember right in between awake and asleep, I heard as if someone had said it out loud in my ear, agape mi vida, which is two different languages and two different words. Agape means love, right? And I always grew up hearing there's different kinds of love in the Greek, I believe. And
Yeah.
agape is like a God love, right?
Unconditional. Yeah.
It's an unconditional love. Oh my gosh. And then mi vida means my life, right? So I heard it and immediately woke up and I heard love of my life, an unconditional love of my life. And I'm like, that's so beautiful. I know that's from you, God, because who else? There's no one around. I heard it in my head very loudly, and I just thought that was very beautiful. And then I entered a crazy time in my life, and 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 I feel now that maybe that was just him saying, "I'm here through it all with you." So
Yeah.
that was one little
I
dream
love the
that I
way he
had.
talks to us. I do. Like, he's just, and he gives us like those little moments of reassurance, like when we need it. Cause like you said, you ended up going into a really hard season in your life. And so just having that token,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah, and I shared it on Facebook and made it like this private post. So every once in a while it comes back up. And then I wrote it in my dream journal too, just because it was powerful to me. So
well, I love that.
yeah, just a little one. And then I don't know if you want to share again, but I do have one more that's
You go ahead.
really,
Yeah.
this one is really,
Your face, really?
this one is heavy.
Okay.
Okay, so, but you know what? Revelation 12, something or
11.
other. 12:11. When I was 16, I moved out and I moved in with a friend of mine, a dear friend. Oh my God, I just loved her so much. And I'm not going to say her name just because um, I don't want to. I did text her and tell her I was doing the podcast today. Oh, she says, I'm okay with it. No worries. Please share your podcast. I love you, girl. I'm so proud of you. We got to catch up.
Oh,
Anyways, okay, I'm just gonna tell a story then. So when I was 16, um, you know, I didn't want to live by my parents' rules. Just put it like that. I moved out, lived with her. She was my best friend. You know, we had a lot of fun together. Well, she had a little baby. She was 15 when she had baby Raymond, and we lived together for a while. I don't know how long I lived with her, but her and her dad and her brother. But one day she didn't come home, and we were looking for her, and even her son's father came over, like, where is she? I'm like, I don't know. And he's like, get in the car, we're gonna go look for her. We went to go look for her. We didn't, see any signs of anything. We went to her mom's house where she was visiting. And then the cops knocked on the door and said that she was in an accident and she lost her baby. And he was about 9 months old at that point. It was very devastating, probably the worst things that ever happened to me in my life. And I was very young. It was the most darkest days
my gosh.
um, dealing with that. So she had went to the hospital. She had to, she had some brain damage. Her neck was broken. Like it was very devastating. She was my best friend, and it was just horrific, horrible. Um, so I had ended up moving back in with my parents for a little while. It took some months, but she came back and she asked me, would you please come back and live with me? And I thought, oh gosh, of course I will. Like, I'll do anything to help you out. Like, I love this girl so much. Um, but I was only 16, and she was only 16. We're just two kids going through this crazy trauma. So I moved in with her. We lived together for a while, and I remember one night I had this dream, and there was a party. I'm not going to read it because I'll just get lost in my words, but there was a party and everyone was dancing and everyone was outside of this little room, and I was in this little room, and baby Raymond was there in the crib, and there was a rocking chair, and I was holding him and I was rocking him, and everyone was out in the party and I was holding him, and he's just a baby. Babies don't even talk, right? But he looked up at me and he goes, please tell my mom that Jesus died on the cross for her sins. And it's clear as day. And I was like, what? Like, you're just a baby, you're talking? Please tell my mom that Jesus died on the cross for her sins. And that was it. And I woke up and I told her this dream, and she was crying and she said, I'm so glad that you had the dream and not me, because the Lord knew that I couldn't handle that, right now. Because she was still, healing and things,
Grieving, yeah.
grieving, healing. And I took her to church one day, and there was this little pin that you would go in and drop your baby off at the nursery, and they would give you a pin. And then you would go into church, and then you come back and bring the pin, and then you get your baby back just to make sure they gave you the right baby.
Yeah.
And so I had this pin, and I put a little Bible verse on it and a little story, and I put a little picture of baby Raymond, and I gave it to her. Almost like, like he's in heaven,
Yeah.
and pretty soon you'll be able to see him. You'll see your baby again. So
Aw.
That was a crazy dream and I'll never forget it. And I know the Lord was talking to me. And when I told her that, um, she was just very grateful. She ended up after that, we parted ways. I went on with my life. She went on with hers. And she ended up going to a Christian university, I think over in Santa Cruz, I believe.
Wow.
So she's been walking with the Lord. And so that's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
But that was, yeah, that was a crazy dream that the Lord gave me.
And obviously you guys are still friends.
We're still friends. Yeah, I mean, we stopped talking for a long time and but we caught up and she'll always be one of my dearest friends. It's hard when you're 16 and you go through some crazy stuff like that. It's like, whew, what do I do with my life after that?
I mean, even having a baby, let alone then all of that after that.
Right. Right. So,
Oh,
and she was able to have, a marriage and more kids and things like that. And so she was,
yeah.
blessed and is still
Yeah.
being blessed by the Lord. So,
Oh. Well, and it's a good thing that you were obedient because some people wouldn't have shared that. Some people would have been like, no, she doesn't want to hear that about her baby. You know what I'm saying? Some people might have not. And we never know, little things are such big things to people. And that's why God's prompting us to tell them or giving us the dreams to minister to somebody. That probably really helped her heart and probably solidified her relationship with Jesus.
yeah, I believe so. But if she was not welcoming that, she could have been like, how dare you? It could have went, like you said, it could have been went south.
Yeah. But
Um,
again, God knows the perfect time that our hearts are ready to receive. It says nobody comes to God except for those the Spirit draws. And so God must have known, like, okay, now, you know what I'm saying? Like, because a lot of
yeah,
the times, you say things to people, and honestly, I feel like even if she wouldn't have been receptive, the seed still would have been planted.
the seed planted. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
because sometimes I know I've said something to somebody in a season and they weren't receptive to it, but then years later, they come back and they're like, I remember when you said this to me.
Yeah, and they know where they can come back to. They can
Right.
go, oh my gosh, my friend Janelle knows Jesus. Like, who is this Jesus guy? And like, what does it mean to be a Christian? I'm going to talk to Janelle about that because
Which
one,
is always such an honor when people say, I reached out you because I know you won't judge me. Like when they
that's
say
so
that,
good.
it's like, I want to read the Bible, but I don't know where to start reading. And I feel stupid. I don't want to ask anybody else.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I love what you said is I know you won't judge me.
well, because I tell people all the time, like, do you realize the life that I've lived? Like, what kind of idiot would I look like judging people? Like,
And that's a beautiful blessing and why you're called by the Lord too is because a lot of Christians are judgy, right? I've
very,
been told I've
very,
been told I'm judgy and maybe I am judgy. I'm sorry. Like I didn't know that I was that way most of the time, most of my life.
well,
But
I mean, the Bible does call us to make a judgment. Like we're supposed to inspect people's fruit and things like that. But only people that are within the body, like people that aren't believers, that's not for us to. They don't know the difference. You know what I mean?
right, right.
So there's not really reasons for us. And I don't know. I don't feel like I've dealt with self righteous people in my life, and it pushed me away from God. And
Yeah.
and so I never want to be that person that's like, you're going to hell, you know what I'm saying? Or like, I don't know. I can't, I just don't have it in me to be like that.
Good.
Because,
Because we're
well,
not supposed to be that way.
and I think a lot of it is too, it says, she who is forgiven much loves much. I've been a hot mess express for most of my life. So I needed God's grace to save me. And I don't know. I was talking about this the other day with my friend. We were watching a podcast, and two of the guys on the podcast were talking about how they struggle sometimes if they're doing enough for God and they're like a performance mentality.
Yeah.
And I just never, and I don't want to like declare it and then the enemy starts attacking me with it, but that's just not something that I've struggled with. Like, I really believe that God loves me. And I think some of it I can attribute to my mom. I can say that my mom always showed me unconditional love. Like how in the Bible, when John the Baptist baptizes Jesus and he said, "This is my son for whom I'm well pleased," Jesus hadn't done anything yet, but he was just affirming him and, "You're my son and I love you." And my mom always did that to me. My mom, she affirmed me in my bad decisions. You know what I mean? Like she just was very, it was tainted love and it was broken, but I always felt unconditional love. I never felt like I had to perform to get her to attention or to get her to love me, or you know what I'm saying? And I feel bad for people that grew up with parents that made them feel that way, and then that
Yeah.
now is projected onto God.
Right. Right. That is something that happens a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. I want to be that way too. I want to be like that unconditional loving person. But I don't know. And you said you're a hot mess. I think I've been an undercover hot mess, because I'm not very outspoken.
She's a little undercover.
Yeah, like an undercover hot, because I keep a lot of things inside. I'm not a very expressive person usually, sharing my business and things, except for today. That was a lot.
Well, we're a good balance then because I overshare. I'm in this relationship class right now, and we're just now getting to the dating part. It's been a couple of months, and now we're learning about dating, Christian dating, and it's like being able to rate yourself kind of like on healthy, like if you're ready to date and things. And so like I'm all, oh, okay, yeah, no. Like one of the things was like, couldn't you say that you confidently would leave the person better off than they were before, no matter what the outcome of the relationship would be? I feel like I would. So I'm like, okay, cool. Another thing was like, do you know yourself? Well, I've been alone for 6 years. I really know myself. Like I know the things that I like, I know the things that I prefer, the things that are non-negotiables to me, all of those things. But then it got to when it was talking about oversharing, and I need to get better at that. Like, because that's trauma dumping. You know what
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
saying? Like, and then you form a trauma bond, and that's not healthy. So I'm like, dang. I was like, I do that, right? And I'm like, I need to get better at that because it's not, to me, I never viewed it as that. It was just, I'm just being honest.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
it's like people need to gain that trust. Like you don't tell somebody over a cup of coffee that you were abused and it's like, I don't mean to. And so that's why I was like, okay, God, well, that's what we're going to work on then.
Yeah. Yeah, you were talking about that in the last podcast, and I was like, oh, yeah, that is a thing that
I
you can do.
do. I do. And I don't mean to. I feel like it's like, oh, I'm just being transparent. It's like, okay, that's great, but you need to be aware of your audience.
Yeah.
Like the little old ladies at the church probably don't need to know you went to prison because they're a little bit judgy and then they might be scared of you. And
Yeah,
like,
they might be scared of you.
right. So it's like, probably don't disclose that, which I've learned. Like when I go to speak at things, I always ask, like, who are the people that I'll be speaking to? Because I have such an elaborate testimony that I'm sure there's a part I can pick out of there and leave out the other parts.
Oh, wow, that's beautiful, Janelle. I love that.
Well, because I'm like learning, like, okay, these people are addiction people. So
Yeah,
talk to them about that part. These
right.
women are abused people. Talk to them about that. These people have been to jail. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like, don't go to the people that have dealt with this and then talk about this. You know what I mean? Because you
Wow.
want to try to connect with people and to make yourself relatable. And that's, I guess, I don't know, just getting experience and doing things I've learned more. And I've learned better. Like, I don't feel guilty about the things that I've said on here about my ex, but I've gotten a lot better at telling the story without throwing him under the bus.
Yeah.
I think it's important to honor people, even if they don't deserve it. Like, don't talk bad about people, what I'm saying, no matter what they did to you. And so I try to not disclose as many details as I have usually, but I mean, it was in the context of needing to, so I did.
Yeah, that's a tough one because you don't want to hurt nobody. And
Yeah.
people change, and where they were back then is not. maybe perhaps not the same person they are today, same as us, right? I was so stupid back then to allow certain things to happen in my life that I should not have. And today I would not have done that. So I'm a new person today. Um, I don't want to be thrown under the bus for the things that I've done,
No,
but
but I'm also very honest about my part in things. With that relationship, I was still very toxic going into that relationship.
yeah,
I was very, like I said, I got up in people's faces. I would use things that you told me against you. Like I was not a nice person. I can say that walking through that relationship and then the breakup of it and then the hellish aftermath after, all of that has really taught me a lot. And I've learned to be thankful for, all the lessons that I've learned, all the things that I've walked through have made me this person. And so I've just learned to where I just don't regret anything anymore.
beautiful.
Like for what?
Yeah.
Like,
Life's so short, right?
yeah, like at least I don't have boring stories when I'm old. I'm like, at least I could say I did some things. Thank God it was before the internet. But, like thank God the things that I did are not out there on the internet. I think about these kids nowadays and they're doing the most and they don't realize like that's not going away. Like I tell my daughter sometimes she'll make these and she's a good girl, she's a good girl, but she'll make like these TikToks and like she posted one and I'm like, you need to take that off there right now. She's like, what? I'm like, it was like a song and it was just it was probably like a TikTok challenge or whatever. But it was like she was being derogatory and like dancing. I was like, no, you need to take that off there. Like you volunteer at the church and the kids. Like, think about that and like the profession that you want to have. I said, if you want to post it on a private story that's only like 5 of your closest friends that know your heart and know that you're not being promiscuous, that's fine. But the world doesn't know that.
Yeah, the
And so,
public.
yeah, you're leaving yourself open to judgment.
Yeah, that's rough.
You
We didn't
know?
have that back then.
No, like
Are you a Gen X or are you a millennial? What are you?
same as you.
What is that? Gen X?
I
Gen
think so.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Gen X.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. Which I mean, it's a very different. I'm thankful I was born when I was because this new stuff, it's weird.
It was weird if you think about it, it was weird when we were growing up too. Like think about all the things that we went through with the rap music and everybody's a hoe and everybody's a B word and like just guns and
It's
violence.
funny you say that. I went to the river with some of my like young friends, my friends that I had when I was young, and we were listening to secular music or whatever. And I don't really listen to that kind of music anymore. And we were listening to it, and it was the Usher song that says like you remind me of a girl that I want, like whatever. And I'm like, no wonder we were cheating. I'm like, listen to this music. I mean, it was brainwashing us. Like we didn't even know. Like everything was about side chicks and this and this and secret lovers and just like different things. And I'm like, God, no wonder why. And because I tell my teenagers in my youth group all the time, you're being brainwashed.
Yeah,
And they're like,
yeah,
that's stupid. And I'm like, no, for real. The things that you're listening to and the things that you're watching, all of those Love Island and that crap that you're watching is desensitizing your mind to think that that crap is normal. Like I remember
yeah.
Lexi was watching Grey's Anatomy one time, and I'm like, "Do you know that you're actually causing brain damage right now?" I said, "You say that you're saving yourself for marriage, and that you don't want to have sex, and you're watching this show where everybody's having sex in a closet at work."
I've never seen Grey's Anatomy and I'm not really sure what it's about, but I've heard that it's all about like dirty sex in a doctor's office or something,
I
right?
mean, it's a good show, like per se, like about the doctor stuff, and like my daughter did learn a lot about the medical things about it. She'll be like, "Oh, mom, they need it," da 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 da. Like she knows things about it, but it's just everything's about sex. All the shows nowadays are
Yeah.
like there's always
They say music is a mantra.
it.
And how often and this is really why I listen to so much Christian music is because music's constantly playing in my head.
Mine too.
So if I want to hear lyric and I'm very good at lyrics, like I know
Me
what
too.
lyrics are. Oh, really?
Yeah, I can remember them, and I can just hear them in the distance, and it goes in my brain.
Yeah, it's awful. Or somebody says a phrase from a song and immediately the song's playing in your head and you're like, why? Why do I want to hear Freaks of the Industry right now? Like, get out of my head.
No, for real. There's a lot of rap
Sorry
songs.
for even saying that because I
No,
want to cleanse.
there's a lot of rap songs that have like one-liners in the beginning, and somebody will say something. Like there's one I can't even think of the song, but it goes, somebody will say two dudes, and I'm like, two dudes dressed like a nun. Like it's a song, and like that's automatically what comes to my brain, no matter what. And it's been I don't even know the song, but I know, like you're saying, just even like the power of suggestion.
Yes. Yeah, it's awful. And that's really how the enemy operates in
Oh
this
yeah,
world is
yeah.
like through music, right? Wasn't he?
Infiltrates our thoughts.
Yeah, in the lyrics, it's just like, there's a lot of beautiful music. One of my favorite songs when I was a little kid, and I even had the little 45 record of it, was We Are the World.
Oh, I love that song. We
Yeah.
are the children.
Yeah. But if you really dissect the words of that song, it is not um, about loving the world and loving God at all. It's quite the opposite. It's about yourself and there's even a part where Willie Nelson goes, as God has shown us when he turns stone to bread. And I'm just like, what? What? What did you just say?
Isn't
Who's
it so
that?
weird how you hear things differently now?
Who turned stone to bread? Like, do you know the Bible verse about stone to
Yeah.
bread?
Yeah, he didn't do it.
He didn't do it. That's what the enemy came to Jesus and goes,
Yeah. If you are the son of God. Yeah.
yeah. And he didn't do it.
Yeah, it's so weird. Like you said, everything I hear and see now, like I went to one of my youth students' plays and it was Annie. And I'm watching it and I'm like enjoying it. And then all of a sudden it's the old man, and he's like, no, I only want this little girl. And all I can think about is the pedophilia that's going on in this world. And I'm like, I don't even want to watch this anymore. Like, this
Hmm.
is ruined it for me. Why does this old man want this little girl? You know what I mean? Like in my mind, I see everything through those lenses now. Like the things that we
Yeesh.
send each other on Instagram all the time.
Yeah.
Like it's so weird, everything that's going on in this world.
Yeesh. We're too connected, maybe. We're too connected to all this stuff. That's why you need to come and visit me and
I
disconnect a
know.
little bit.
Okay, well, I think we've talked for a long time. Let's see. I don't even know. It doesn't tell me.
Well, it's 2:45. So,
Okay. Well, thank you so much for hopping on here. Sorry, guys, that we kind of went off on 50 different tangents, but this will just be a great episode, and I'll have to figure out what to name it.
yeah.
Yeah. So,
Visions and dreams and drama.
yeah, there you go. That's a good one. Okay. And drama. Yeah. A little bit of this and a little bit of that.
Yeah.
But that's good because you got to see a very real, raw conversation between me and my cousin. So I love that.
Yes.
So I hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you again for coming on here. If you're watching this on YouTube, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. If you would like to be a guest, please reach out to me. I would love to give you the opportunity. Hope you come back next week. Bye.
Bye. Lord be with you.